two giant 1919 strips.
Yeah.
Friends, we're back with episode 11 of Warhammer 40K, Wrath&Glory, Dark Inquisitions. Today, we'll be playing on a battle map. The armies are listed in the description section on YouTube, and I'm throwing them right now into the chat if you're watching live. I'd say, what's the PC army at? 2250? Something like that?
2322.
2322. I mean, I designed the enemy army assuming you'd have 2,000 points. Enemy army, 3,103 points. So I think it's a pretty even matchup, really. It's going to be an interesting game today. Look, here's the deal. This is a follow-up to last week. I fired that new gun that I had. And in the process, I looked up YouTube's rules on discussing firearms. Just to be very clear, I'm not telling people to buy any firearm, nor am I discussing technical details of them. I'm only here to say I have a sunburn from 4 hours in the sun. It's awful. I'm going back again this Tuesday to learn to shoot left-handed, left-eyed, because shooting cross-eyed dominant, it's so much better with a holographic scope doing that reflex sight, but it is still a major pain in my ass. So
Yeah.
I've also spent all week trying to figure out how to impress Pondo the Mad. Now, there are things Pondo likes, so I've slowly been compiling lists. I've been thinking a lot about this ever since the episode of Pokemon where I couldn't figure out what does Pondo like. Pondo likes justice. Pondo likes being on the side of the law and justice. I also know he likes Pokemon. He likes knowledge and discussing knowledgeable things. Pondo likes short introductions. Pondo likes Cottontailed. I can't give him some of those things on this show during this introduction. I don't know how to deliver things that Pondo likes. And why am I discussing this? Because there's a meme going around that as long as you can get players to show up at your table every week excited to play, you're doing good as a game master, no matter how you feel about it. But look at Pondo. Does he seem excited to you? He's impenetrable, expressionless block of ice.
Actually, for him, this does seem
a
exciting.
statue carved in the most stainless of steel.
He's dancing on the inside.
Is he, though? Is he? I can't read him. It's like a mirror. I look at him, and I can't see anything beyond.
Your window painted black. A mirror would reflect yourself.
You're correct. It's like a brick wall.
There you go.
I would say Pondo is like a brick house. Oh, mighty, mighty. He's letting it all hang out. He's a brick house. Sid Alpha, I'm glad that someone laughed. You know, I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel with this. If I had prepared this introduction, it probably would have gone a lot better, but I'm really just off the cuffing this. Pondo, I wanted to make this introduction all about you. That's why I'm going to jump to Sid Alpha to do the first intro. Just so that you thought right there that I might have been calling on you first, but actually, I'm going to Sid Alpha. Sid, let's talk about you.
Yeah, hi. It's been an interesting week in my life. We didn't have any stream on Thursday, which kind of made me a little bit sad, but that is what it is. Gave me a chance to get a video out anyway, so not a total loss. I finally got around to constructing my sound booth, which you notice that the big blue box isn't hanging over my shoulder anymore because it's been put away because I don't need it anymore. You can kind of see, well, I don't think the stream can actually see, but you can kind of see a corner of it right over here over my shoulder. It's working really well. 3 foot by 3 foot is a little bit small for my taste, but 'tis what it is. So I've been having fun playing around with that. I found out that the microphone I'd been using in my little portable box was great for a little portable box, but in an actual sound booth, it didn't work out so well. So I actually have to transfer this microphone and put it in there every time I want to record something. which I'm going to have to just keep dealing with because I don't want to spend another $400 on a microphone just so I don't have to transport it 4 feet.
Yeah, that does not sound like a positive effect to me at all.
Let's see what else has been going on. Oh, I found out that in addition to the trip that I'll be taking in late October, due to day job stuff, for the first week, possibly the first 2 weeks of November, I'm going to be in the UK. So I'll keep you up to date on that because it'll be straight day job stuff. If and when I go, I probably won't be available for anything online because I'll be working like 18-hour days.
I'm gonna throw this at you, but did you know that Pondo, and Cotton are all not collectively, but at different times and different locations, taking a vacation from the 9th to the 15th? So that, obviously it sucks that you're in the United Kingdom not doing what you want, but it's good that it's happening during a time
That
where
it lined up. Yeah.
yeah, where half the cast of every single show is gone.
Well, that's not too bad. I won't feel too guilty then. I don't like missing out, and I really don't like the aspect of going another 2 weeks without having the ability to put out any videos. So I might end up packing some sound gear with me and seeing if I can make the time. But
You
yeah,
could pre-record videos. And then
oh man, I don't
release
even
them.
have the time to keep up on the normal videos right now, let alone pre-record them.
What? Okay,
That's-
let me
that's
throw this
terrible.
at you. All right, maybe try this. Sid Alpha Googles things for you and then reads the entry.
Let's
All
say
right.
Google that.
No, it's just 2 hours of Sid going through Wikipedia entries and just being like, Boreum. It is on the elemental table. Its atomic number is 84, probably. I don't remember. Sid, however, would get the atomic number right.
Yeah, I'd have to Google it. Let me do that real quick.
No, don't do that. Atomic number 5. I was so far off. I was like, it's towards the end of the normal metals. So wrong.
You mean barium?
I think I got somewhere between barium and boron. I
Barium
just
is
made up a new.
phosphorus.
I made up a new metal. Okay.
So yeah, so lots and lots of trips coming up in my future. And that's about it. That's all I've got
often
going
heard
on.
Sid
Back to
Alpha is the
YouTube
guy who's
videos and
tripping.
stuff.
Look,
I
Sid,
have often heard that I'm tripping.
when
Yes.
are you going to tell us about this new video game that you're voice acting?
Which one?
You mentioned on Twitter that you had a new video game voice acting job.
Oh,
Yeah, when are you going to NDA us? Right?
Recently?
Yeah, it was
or-
like in the last week.
No, it's actually not a video game.
Okay, tell me more. Tell me everything I can, and maybe a little more.
I can't.
All right, you can't
I
tell
can
us
s-
anything.
I can say that I'll be playing a character in his
We're all
late
friends
30s
here.
to early 40s.
Okay.
So I'm perfect for that.
It's not like we're
because
being
that's-
recorded, Sid.
Yeah, but I don't want to damage the possibility of my getting other gigs in the future.
The real joke about that is we're actually are being recorded.
Thanks, Pondo.
We've cracked it. We found what's humorous to Pondo. There you go.
Yeah, that's the really easy one. Chat has hooked up a VHS and is recording. We are in beautiful 320p, a recording medium that will last maybe 12 plays at best.
Oh, they'll last longer than that.
They last longer than that.
Not if Blockbuster has anything to say about it.
I mean,
Depends how poor you were
back
growing
when
up.
Star Trek: The Next Generation was still on the air, and I had to record them for my father because he got home like 20 minutes after the episode started. I can I can attest to the fact that those videos last way longer than 12 plays.
Okay. The next generation.
I have a copy of Lion King that says otherwise as well.
Yes, and when my daughter was growing up, the VHS copy of Shrek, that thing saw some punishment.
Pondo, it's interesting that you mentioned Lion King. As we all know, as media studies in Disney, or from having listened to me talk about this ever, the mark of a good Disney film is the strength of its villain song. And yes, Lion King literally, without question in any way, has the best villain song. But I've recently rediscovered my love for Pocahontas. It is not that good a movie. I would say it is below average for a Disney film. But let me tell you something, friends. It has not just one, but two villain songs, and they are both hype as fuck. I would easily say they occupy spots 3 and 4 collectively of the top 5 Disney villain songs.
Is it Savages and Mine, Mine, Mine?
Mine, Mine, Mine is before Savages.
Well,
For
I'm
sure.
just saying.
Mine, Mine, Mine is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I would have to say I like Friends of the Other Side probably better than.
I like Friends with the Other Side Reprise, the version that they do at the end of the movie.
I don't remember that version.
It's similar, but it's just darker.
I might have to look that up.
It's where he's getting wrecked by his friends from the other side.
So, interesting fact about Be Prepared was that Jeremy Irons didn't sing it because his voice was damaged, and it was sung by Jim Cummings instead. So Winnie the Pooh sung Be Prepared.
I actually knew that.
Man, now that I can't get that image out of my head. Now I'm going to listen to Scar sing that and just immediately switch it to Winnie the Pooh singing it.
Right?
Got him. We got him.
You're welcome.
I've been ruined for that song for the entire time now.
Yeah, Jim Cummings, man, that man had fucking range.
We want to talk about range. There was an anime I watched once where one of the characters is a doppelganger, and imitated all 5 of the other cast members of the show and sung their character songs as them so good you could not tell the difference. You know how hard it is to imitate 5 other random people singing? That shit is hard as fuck. Speaking of someone who's hard as fuck, let's talk to the hardest dude around, Pond of the Mad.
Hi.
Absolutely. I mean, have you seen his arms? Prison tats everywhere. Chuck Norris tried to fight him and he declined. He once jumped out of an airplane without a parachute.
I mean, like a video game, yeah. You know, you could do it in Far Cry and you get that wingsuit, so you just say, fuck it, I don't need parachutes anymore.
I mean, you can do it in Just Cause and...
I've never played Just Cause.
Oh boy, let me tell you something. Imagine if physics didn't matter. That would be Just Cause.
That's everything I've seen about Just Cause.
Just Cause is to Far Cry what Saints Row is to GTA.
Oh, that is a really good comparison.
You know, I used to prefer Saints Row to GTA sometimes. Mainly the second one.
Really? You like beating people to death with giant dildos? Because
yeah, dude, that's fucking
y'all freaks.
I prefer Saints Row 2.
Write that down in a memo entitled like
I feel you, Pondo. Saints Row 2, best one.
Is the best one.
All y'all freaks.
Well, they started going just crazy after that. So
yeah.
2 was, I think 2 is the one that I like fully collected everything and all that. So.
Honestly, I'd probably rather play Saints Row 2 over GTA 5. Just because Saints Row 2 has more charm than GTA 5 to me.
It really does. I can agree with that.
So I feel like if Volition didn't change their formulas to whatever the fuck they just decided to do with it, or before they just said fuck it completely and just like, we just want superpowers. It's President of the United States. They're aliens. We're in the Matrix. Here you go.
Yeah.
If we can get a remaster of Saints Row 2, I'd buy that shit immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got anything else going on that's not
no,
Saints
I got
Row?
called out in my language. I should stop.
What?
Cotton just over there just called me out in my language.
For saying what?
Shit.
Really?
Yes.
Oh boy. listen, Pondo, don't react, don't say anything, but I'm gonna do my absolute best to have her say shit on the next episode on the tabletop. Don't react. No, he reacted. Don't do anything, Pondo. I'm gonna make it happen.
Okay.
I'll tell you how I'm gonna do it too. Succubus, charm, mind control, and then I'm gonna give her a card to read. And it's just gonna be the word shit and tell her that she has to say that word
On repeat.
That's
15
right,
times.
Pondo. Listen, I've told you I'm insane. I will abuse my power as a GM to make this happen. I won't even let her roll a save. I'll just say that I rolled a save for her and roll nothing.
Okay. Have fun with that.
Don't let her hear when we play Total Warhammer. Fucking shit, dude. It's just like, it was like 2.5 hours of me swearing.
I believe I was swearing too. I'm like, this is.
Oh, fucking dude, it was some bullshit. That's what it was. But yeah.
It was 2 hours just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Just how can we get this to work? What's the problem here?
Well, it's like anything you try to play a game together with mods. It's like you spend, I got 4 hours to play. Okay, we spent 3.5 hours fucking troubleshooting the damn thing. See how my current Divinity playthrough of my Guild Matrix is going.
Yeah. These mods make it fun though.
Oh yeah.
I've tried a little bit of the Divine War mod. It's interesting.
It changes up the whole meta, which is what I like. You can actually just play whatever you want to play, then you're not limited.
It kills me that I can't just battle stomp or just knock people over to make them skip their turns anymore. I miss that aspect.
You get to where you do it though. But yeah.
That's it for me.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I wouldn't want to deprive you of your sacred right to introductions. Grim Dark James, my understanding is that it's been months, but you've completed another podcast episode of the Grim Dark Podcast. Is that correct?
That's it. Yeah, finished it earlier this week and had to go to the producer for some editing, but it went up earlier today on our website. So episode 107 is out. It was a difficult one because we were talking about the orc knob, and the word knob has certain connotations in Australian and English.
Yeah, really any language.
Yeah, and so my co-host spent most episode giggling every time we said the word knob. So, but no, I think it went well. I'm happy. I'm looking forward to today. Ready for some hot Imperial on Imperial action.
That sounded wrong. We just gotta talk about knobs and just switch to that. That is all.
But no, it's been a pretty good week actually. I spent a lot of the time working on my diorama for Armies on Parade. I started playing Ghost Recon Breakpoint and then switched to Unnamed Goose Game. So has everybody encountered Unnamed Goose Game so far?
You know what? Let me tell you something. I don't have a fucking clue what this game is.
Rake in the lake.
I see a ton of people memeing it with Fire Emblem, and it appears to be a goose that commits crimes.
It's just a goose which is a jerk. You just play a complete jerk.
It's a goose as if it was like a 12-year-old hoodlum, more or less.
All right. And you mess with the lives of all the villagers using a checklist, maybe?
Yeah, they're like
everyone puts a checklist in their little comics about the goose.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I moved away from the Spec Force action of Ghost Recon and started playing a jerk of a goose for the rest of the week.
From what you tell me, it's not that great.
Yeah, you mean Breakpoint?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's look, I think that I could probably get into it if I spent more time with it, but it's AAA game season, and I think that it's going to be really easy to get distracted by anything else that comes out. Like if I wasn't also playing Greedfall and also playing my second playthrough of Fire Emblem and also playing Unnamed Goose Game, I'd probably give it more of a look. But it's just one of those things. It's like I could play that, or I could, I don't know, do something fun.
Play it or do something fun.
And with all this, I gotta get this painting finished. And also, I went to the hardware store this morning to pick up all sorts of stuff to make my diorama. So, yeah, I unfortunately, because Armies on Parade boards had to be presented on a 24 by 24 inch diorama, and the hardware store couldn't cut would in imperial terms. They're like, how many centimeters is that? I'm like 60.96. Okay, 61 centimeters.
2.54. Friends,
Yeah.
that's the conversion rate.
It is.
What's what,
But yeah,
25 mil to the inch?
Look, I was really proud of myself when on Wednesday Dave was like, how many kilograms is that? And I was like, it's about 115. And I was off by like a fraction of a kilogram. I was like,
There.
yes.
Yep, 2.2.
I'm
kilograms per
getting
pound.
where I'm pretty decent about it because most of my friends and family are military, so they still just use metric. But yeah.
I think the only reason why America still uses standards because we're just stubborn.
Well, that and it's expensive as fuck.
Yeah, it will take a huge,
Yeah, they
enormous internal cost, like trillions of dollars to switch over.
yeah, because
Really?
all of the road signs. I mean, just think
Oh,
about
yeah.
all of that shit that has to be changed over, and that's before you even start considering,
The size of packages, the way we sell food products.
Yeah, literally, it would all have to change. It's kind of too. Sorry, my cat's trying to get my bowl of peanuts. It would just be way too expensive to do at this point. It's just we passed that point of no return a long time ago.
I don't think that's true. I think we could commit to it, but it would be a major cost. We would do it for the future.
Yeah, but of all the things that we really need to spend money on in the country right now, I think
Yeah,
switching.
that's
is probably
pretty damn low on the list.
I mean, does Flint fucking have clean water yet?
No.
The fact that none of us know that is exactly.
Oh no, I know that.
fine.
No,
They don't.
I actually do know that they don't have free water.
Yeah,
I thought that was rhetorical because it's been years and they still don't.
Yeah, seriously, I meant that.
It doesn't.
I mean,
Someone's going to say the government's going to take our inches and take our feet, and that's going to be the end of it.
they can have,
They're going to give us 2.54 centimeters for every inch? You think that's a good conversion? You think because they can put 2.2 kilograms in the sky, we could put 1 pound for something like that?
it's funny.
I could see someone making a speech like that.
I used to know a guy who lived in Alabama who was horribly opposed to the metric system. He's like, I'll never be caught dead using the metric system. I'm like, what caliber's your handgun? 9 mil. Oh shit. Oh, yeah, all right.
Correct.
Shut the fuck up.
That's like when people are like, I would never use like something from the Middle East. I was like, oh, okay.
Never use
Well,
numbers?
how do you do math? Or Arabic numerals, right?
You
1, 2,
ever
3, 4,
use
5.
Yeah.
You're still using
Yeah,
that abacus, huh?
I have an American friend who's immigrated here, and she has switched to metric for everything except for temperature. She prefers Fahrenheit still.
Well,
And her reasoning is that she thinks that 0 to 100 is a better scale than 0 to 37 for the same thing.
when
It is
talking
more
and-
psychologically satisfying.
when talking like towards personal comfort, I would agree.
Yeah, and she talks about the fact that you can go outside and say, "Oh, it feels like 60 today, it feels like 70 today," and I said, "But that would imply that perfect was 50, and 50 is pretty fucking cold to be perfect, as far as I'm concerned."
I would say that Fahrenheit is a more exact system for the simple fact that there is a lot more numbers in between those general range. Most of the numbers that you're going to use to describe temperatures, on average, Fahrenheit is a more exact system, more decimal points.
Kelvin or nothing.
Look, Kelvin? You want to describe shit in
I was going to
Kelvins?
say the same thing. I was like, I'm more of a Kelvin man.
Oh damn! Now I don't want to look up what even 98 degrees.
It's like plus 152 or something. It's literally the same as
I know what absolute Kelvin is. It's like negative
zero.
absolute
Absolute
zero.
Kelvin is
Absolute zero is
absolute zero is zero
like 200.
kelvins.
Look,
Like
in
200
look,
something.
I live in Florida. There's only two. There's really only two. It's you walk outside, it's either or nope, and go back inside. Those are the only two that matter. Only two.
Yeah, that just sounds weird to me. Saying 98 degrees is like, oh, it's 309.
Yeah, and what the actual temperature is just like fucking irrelevant. So it's just like, what is it actually, feels like? Not, well,
It's
the sky
300.
is this
It's
temperature.
300
feels like is
degrees out, but
subjective.
it feels like 350.
Because like here it would be like, oh no, it's only 95. It's like feels like 106 with 98% humidity. I'm like,
I would be down for switching everything we've got to metric except for temperature, not just for the exactness, but if we forget our roots in the Fahrenheit scale, several of my favorite songs will no longer work.
That's your biggest.
If you're
thing
hot-blooded and you're checking to see, you're not going to have a fever of 103. You know, it's going to be it's going to be. Yeah. I mean, I guess you could
if you
say
had a fever of 103 in Celsius, you wouldn't have a fever. You would literally be on fire.
You're an astronaut that pops outside of a spacesuit.
I guess you could say I'm hot-blooded, check it and see. I've got a fever of 39 C, but that feels a little strained. See, we have to keep the Fahrenheit. Everything else we can change. Fine.
Look, the only numbers that matter to me are 556 and 762. Everything else can.
What about 223? I mean, it's like 556, but slightly different.
It's the same exact caliber. It's just generally a lower powder charge. There is a difference.
Can confirm.
Yes.
The armorer has backed me up.
I could confirm as well, but I'll just.
Chat is saying 12.7. I mean, I would say.
Okay, you give me that $5 a cartridge, and I'll gladly go for 12.7. You give me that $9,000 for a bolt action.
Look, I think we can just settle, guys. We settle between 5.56 and 12.7, and just say 7.62 by 54, and just go for like a really big AK.
I have my 54. You don't want it. No, what you do is you go 6.5 Grindle, and then that's
nope. James, you got anything else before we start getting into weird fucking calibers here?
Weird caliber.
14.5
Let
AMR.
me tell you.
Oh my god! Around here, we don't use calibers. We only use hotshot las guns, motherfuckers. We don't need ammunition. We just need a battery.
You need to reload? Just chuck that fucker in a fire.
That is not actually recommended.
But they do it anyway.
You confused me when you said 54 and said something about AK, because AK uses 7.62 by 39.
Or 5.45, but
there are AK variants that do 7.62
I mean
54 that are like, you know, bigger rifle size.
Well, the SVD is, I mean, that's what the Nagant used, was a 7.62 by 54 rims. The PKM still uses it. PKP does too.
All right, let's stop talking about 80-year-old ass rifles, okay, that are for some reason still being used today. James, you got anything else?
Nope. Move
All right. Atomic.
1891.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Glenlivet whiskey capsules. What are your thoughts?
Whiskey capsules?
Yes, they're like gummies that contain whiskey in them, and you just pop them in your mouth. No ice, no water, no glasses.
No.
They're like Tide Pods filled with whiskey.
What? No. Why the fuck would you want to? That's like the whole point of whiskey is if you're just eating, like doing it to get fucked up.
People are saying people are saying it offers a different kind of whiskey in the same way that you know.
Okay, how about you drink your different whiskey from a fucking glass?
Wow. Okay, so you fully reject this notion.
No, because it's just like a weird. Somebody's like, "Hey, Jello shots, but let's make it dumb."
I just feel like you could try it once to see how.
I mean, I would try it once, and I would probably still say it's dumb.
You know, people said the same thing about pizza once.
And that doesn't mean that every new instance of a thing is automatically going to be a success.
Huh. Glenlivet seaweed capsules.
Yep. Tide Pods for your whiskey.
Well, that's just going to cause more people to eat Tide Pods.
I call that natural selection. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cruel thing to say, but
I mean, the warning labels exist for a reason.
For me, I feel like natural selection is when you take a look at which character you're going to play in a video game, and you find the one who's dressed all in black and you know, has the best stabbing weapon. That for me is the natural selection.
Not refraining from eating Tide Pods.
Atomic, how was your week?
Mostly assembling more Space Marines. I got pretty much all of my Vanguard Marines from the Shadowspear box set done. I got a Company Ancient painted. I got Captain and Gravis armor painted.
I'm about to reveal.
I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, I've been trying to. I found a collection of mods to turn XCOM 2 into 40K 100%. I've been trying to get that to work. I've had to reinstall them several times, so it's just been me deleting and re-downloading like 45 gigs worth of mods.
Yeah, I saw you earlier. Atomic is playing XCOM 2, then nothing. Then Atomic is playing XCOM 2, then nothing. I figured you were trying to get something working back and forth.
Yeah, well, the problem is that if you get into like the splash screen and it crashes, it'll actually create a log file. But if it goes to start and just fails and just immediately exits the thing, you get nothing. So troubleshooting it's a real pain in the ass because sometimes you get a crash report, sometimes you don't. It's just fucking ridiculous. Some of it has to do with like there's a million. It's one of those things where how people solve the problem is literally different for every single person. So people have tried to compile lists of, it could be just allocating it, more memory or whatever, or some people have reinstalled fucking Microsoft framework bullshit, or so just trying a million different things and seeing what works, and none of it's worked so far. So I get to try it again later tonight. But I've also just been waiting on my 3D printer. I've been fucking around with that, so I got hours at a time in between doing stuff. So
I've played a mod of XCOM 2 where you play all clone troopers and the aliens were replaced with Jedi.
I've done one where excuse me, I've done the one where it replaces them all with guardsmen and stuff, but never all the like space, like the one I'm thinking of, it's like essentially turning them into Death Watch Marines. So it's doing all that stuff. So it's been a time, let me tell you what. But other than that, nope, I haven't really done much. I fucking updated my character sheet fucking finally. So yep, that's me. How you doing?
We're gonna do 2 parts before we end these intros. So buckle in, kids at home. Part 1. I have read recently that not enough people say nice things to other people. That, especially men, but also women, in this modern age are devoid of compliments from someone else. Therefore, I am going to force all of you to say one nice thing about another cast member. And the first person to go will be complimented by the last person to go. Sid Alpha! I'm not choosing you to go first. I'm actually choosing Pano to go first, to give him his choice of who he wants to pick. I am not involved in this, by the way. As we all know, I'm not actually a cast member, because when people vote for their favorite cast member, I'm not included. This has been proven in the cast member poll where people said, blah, 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 blah. I picked this person, and also Arthur. And I'm like, so I'm not even human now. I'm just an extra thing that you throw in on the side, huh? Okay. Pondo?
For this show?
No, the 5-year poll that I did where I was like, who's your favorite cast member? Everyone was like, this guy, this guy, this guy, and I guess Arthur as well. He's not, I wouldn't list him as a cast member. And I was like, really? I'm not a cast member. Okay, I don't know what I do here every week then.
That's a tough question.
You can't pick one other person here and say something nice about them? Jesus, Pondo.
I could say something nice about everybody.
Well, so the problem for you is not finding something nice to say, it's finding which nice thing to say. God damn, you're too nice. You're too nice, Pondo. This is a rough standard to live up to.
Sorry.
Are you rolling a die? Are you rolling a die to determine this is so Pondo? He's like, I don't know whether I want to.
I'm not rolling anything.
Okay.
I honestly can't pick one single person.
It sounds like Pondo is one of those people where you ask him where they want to go to eat, and he's like, oh, I don't know, just pick.
Oh,
something.
that's true. I have heard that he has a very hard time making decisions.
Pick something.
All right, we'll talk to our group's decisionist.
I have a hard time.
The man who is excellent at deciding things, Sid Alpha. What nice thing do you have to say about a fellow cast member?
I'm going to pick on James, and I'm going to say James has been fantastic with helping us all out with the rules and keeping everything up to date. And he's all around been extremely helpful and has definitely gone out of his way each and every single time. And you don't see people willing to offer up that much time and support to a bunch of other people very often. So thank you for that.
Damn it, Sid, you took mine.
All right, James, you
Sorry.
have to pick someone who is not Sid. Say something nice about.
So, I mean, I should have just taken a moment before to recognize the fact that that Atomic actually said, I finally fucking updated my fucking character sheet. Fucking hell. You know, and I do appreciate the fact that, and you can tell Cotton that Pondo too, by the way, that it took me a while to work out what the rules on Twitch were about, you know, because I try to keep my podcast clean, but I'm just gonna acknowledge that and not pick on Atomic. I'll go to Pondo. Because look, I mean, the time I spent playing with Pondo, both in BattleTech and here, he's just a very genuine guy, very, very nice guy. I don't know much personally outside of these games, but I mean, the few times we've chatted offline, sort of the person that I would have no issue being mates with in a real context. And I think everyone in this show is the same way. No one really rides me the wrong way here. So, but no, I'm gonna pick on Pondo for that genuineness.
I have good news, Pondo. The only person you can pick is Atomic. So,
Good news or bad news? Here we go. Challenge accepted.
No, I mean, Atomic has kind of helped me out along with this 40K stuff because he, along with James, obviously knows a lot more about this stuff than I do. And he's actually helped me out. I've talked to him off screen about it a little bit. And he's really easy to get along with as well. I do enjoy the kind of synergy that he brings into is the no bullshit character.
No bullshit.
Quite essentially, regardless, it's been gotten us in trouble a couple of times or something.
all right, Tommy, you say something nice about Sid. Thank you all for participating in this forced compliment contest.
Forced compliment contest.
Yeah.
What was it? Contest.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate Sid's dedication and just like ability. Like he just throws himself in anything he does. You know, he was sick as hell last week and was like, "I'm gonna fucking, just die the whole time, but I'm gonna show up because he's like, I'm gonna be there, so I'm gonna be there." That's just nice. You can just see his work ethic just carries over in every single thing he does. It's just something that's very rare to see on the internet. Just somebody that's that dedicated to, whatever they're doing.
Second,
Do Americans have the term circle jerk, by the way?
yes, they do.
Okay, no worries.
It is.
Just asking.
I have to tell you, it is way more popular in Australia than it is in America. Just to be super clear, you guys use it all the time. I really don't understand why. Friends, second thing I want to investigate from all of you. I feel like I might be attacked as part of this, but I'm willing to accept it. Worst game master, dungeon master moment in your history of playing tabletop RPGs. I have to tell you, I have been harvesting stories off RPG horror stories. This one is for me. I want to know what your worst moment is. What is the one to avoid? I'm just going to leave it up to the class. Just, throw it out there. Well,
like experience from a GM or
yes,
experience
from
as a GM.
I don't know that all of you even have experience as a GM. Well, no, Sid, you ran a game for me, and I absolutely destroyed it as a North One Highlander with that perfect accent, very good imitation of Irish. The entire time.
I completely destroyed it by fucking up all the rules.
That's fine. I rolled really well the whole time and ended up stealing a mech before the end of the game.
So did you want worst moment as a GM or worst moment?
Worst moment you've seen a GM deploy. Okay. You're just like, oh, I cannot believe I'm at this fucking table while this is happening. I want to get up.
Do you want funny or do you want dark?
No, I want dark. I want you're just so irritated with that GM. What is to be avoided?
I can give you a story, but it does get a bit dark.
I mean, how dark are we talking here? Like R18 plus?
No, not so much that. So I can tell you that because of this, two people who never role played, I've left the hobby altogether.
Okay, yeah.
So we were playing a Cthulhu semi-freeform, semi-tabletop as part of a convention, that was a sort of very psychologically intense game with 4 players and 4 GMs. And it sort of alternated between regular sit down play and getting up and acting out some of the stuff. And of the players, there were 3 male players and a female player, all playing the same gendered characters. And the setting was a like a mental hospital. And one of the scenes ended up in the female character basically being raped by an orderly. And the lead GM instructed one of the other GMs to effectively lie down on top of the player and dry hump her to simulate it.
Oh, this
And
is
so, yeah,
every
both
Vampire the Masquerade LARP I've ever heard of, James.
Yeah. So that player and that GM never spoke to the main GM again, never role played again.
Oh, yep. This is what I came here to listen to. Wow. There are some people that just in this hobby. I don't know. Anybody else got a nice story that they want to share? Worst GM ever? Pondo's sitting there like, how can I repeat something Arthur did to me in a way that he won't immediately recognize that it was him?
Actually, I have one from when I was a teenager.
Oh.
It was playing D&D 2nd edition, and a friend of mine invited me over to his cousin's house because his cousin was going to be GMing a game. And so, like, fucking yeah, cool, right on. And this guy was so, I don't know, there was no plan. This dude had no clear idea what he was doing. He knew the rules. He knew the rules really well, but he basically just tried to mishmash everything up. And it started off, we created 3rd level characters. And remember, this is D&D 2nd edition. And right out of the gate, he had the character of the party of 3rd level characters going up against an ancient red dragon. And then basically he fudged numbers and twisted things around to where the party of 3rd level characters were able to beat the ancient red dragon just so he could power level us.
Interesting.
Start you at a higher level.
It took about 5 hours of my time and to get through that. And it was like we started out at like 8 or 9 p.m. By the time we were done, and it was about 7 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, I never want to see this person's face again. It's like, because I hadn't slept, and this person, it just went downhill from there. This person had no clue what he was doing and just decided to toss out whatever thought sounded cool in his head at that particular moment.
Now, terrible. Let me ask, is this GM also a teenager at the time?
Yes, he was.
Because that absolutely sounds like a teenager thing. That sounds like someone who read a Dritz novel and was like, oh man, let's do everything in that book. We're just going to recreate
I think I did that as a teenager at one point when I was running second D&D back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know that
leveled through a easy encounter with a tough monster.
Yeah. I don't know that that's necessarily, like, obviously it's a bad thing, but I don't know that that's a bad mistake to make. It's just important that once you've done it, you'd be like, this wasn't as cool as I thought it was going to be.
Well, I found out later that he was doing all of that intentionally to kind of troll everyone a bit. So I was like, well, I stayed up for over 24 hours straight, and I felt like my time was completely wasted.
Yeah, that's unpleasant.
Yeah, I had like a 3.5 hour boss fight last night, but it was really interesting. So we didn't even, time just flew, even though we were only fighting like 3 creatures.
I think I've had multi-episode boss fights before.
I have 2.
On at least one show.
But not in a while. Just like 3 straight hour boss fight. It's usually been split up somehow. You know, the traditional like, oh, you pop his shield and now he summons minions and disappears to another room, and you have to chase his ass. Not like just going kind of off what Sid had. I was talking about just like mechanically. I had a this was, I guess it was right after I got into Pathfinder, and granted it wasn't in person. It was still online, but I had a GM that was super experienced with 3.5 and stuff like that, but he was also kind of new to Pathfinder. And anybody who's played Pathfinder knows that unless you can not even necessarily going just batshit crazy with it, you can make fairly strong characters before magic items. And this guy got to where he wasn't giving us really challenges that were strong enough to deal with because we had experienced players. We weren't power gaming by any means, but we knew what we were doing. So, we complemented each other's abilities and whatever. So we were just able to approach things very well. And he got to the point to where he was just getting mad and just trying to stop players from using their class abilities to stop breaking his encounters. And we're like, well, just make more difficult encounters. If you don't want your room of guys to get wiped out in 2 turns, don't put, CR1 or what I think we're 8th or 9th level at that, whatever, really easy creatures there or whatever. And the guy just got really mad and within a session or 2 just got in a huff and then just ended up leaving without even telling us. He just left. He was just mad that we kept beating all of his stuff because he just didn't understand the mechanics of how Pathfinder could work and how easily you could make a strong character.
I'm going to follow up on that real quick. The last episode of Critical Role, when I watch Critical Role, I normally don't watch their after show, Talks Machina. It's the first episode I ever saw was based on the last one, because the last episode was fucking crazy. And Crit Roll Stats keeps track of everything that has ever happened on that show, from dice rolls to whispers between characters. I wouldn't be surprised if word count somehow ended up there. And what it ended up being is that the majority of their fights in 5th edition end up being about 5 rounds, and they've never exceeded a 9-round encounter, which makes sense to me. I feel like 5 rounds really is about the edge of most people's ability in 5th edition. It's just long enough that as a high-level spell, even at high level, you'll blow through all of your abilities, like your daily abilities, your 8-hour abilities, all of them in about 5 rounds. After that, you're just using low-level spells and cantrips, or just wildly attacking with whatever you got left, I think. Which is a stark counterpoint to Pathfinder, where I've had 20 or 30 round combats.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what makes the difference there. I guess it's probably the way that they decided to do dice math.
Yeah, well, there's more rolling, more math, but I think also there's just a lot more choice. I say that there's people tend to, at least in my experience, they tend to think a little bit more, I guess. But granted, I came into Pathfinder straight with people who played 3.5, so they were generally a little older, tended to take their time a little bit more. So not just even the turns, but just the fights themselves tended to take a little bit longer because everybody kind of just wanted look, see what was going on and everything else. But yeah, I concur with your experience. My Pathfinder fights have always been way longer than my 5e ones.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know how 2nd edition works out. I'm still really on the edge about Pathfinder 2nd. It seems a little odd.
I've heard it's got a lot. I mean, I've looked into it a bit, but I've heard it's funny. It's got some of the stuff from 4th that was one of the reasons why Pathfinder ended up being created in the first place.
Yeah. Pondo, do you have a bad GM moment you'd like to share? It's okay if you list something I've done. At this point, I will probably have forgotten what it is. Listen, you can never make Ratasaurus more angry than if you're like, I don't remember that happening. He's like, that happened in our game, Arthur. That happened in Okeanos. And I'm like, Okeanos, Jesus, what was that? And he's like, it was a show. You ran it. And I was like, was it?
That was funny.
I literally did not remember Okeanos.
It was like,
even now, I can only remember a couple things from it. There was a dog, there was an elf, a scorpion.
The thing was about that conversation was Rad didn't remember what the name of the show was.
Oh, Sid wanted to make a salt
of it between the two of you, and then eventually I was just like, I might as well say it's Okeanos.
Dwarf Hell, Snake People Island. That's what it was. There was a dwarven empire under Snake People Island, and you guys got stuck on the Snake People Island for literally 7 or 8 episodes, and I was like, I remember when this story was about going to an island and bringing stuff back to the main island, and that has literally never happened. There's a whole subsystem for changing the civilization that you belong to, and you guys were like, we can never return home. If we do, we will doom our people forever. And I'm like, well, that's one takeaway that you got. Okeanos
I did feel kind of bad about that.
Okeanos is weird.
So can I tell one quick funny one to bring it back to?
All right, bring it back. Bring it back.
That's it. Yep. So another con story. Playing a third ed D&D game at a con with my regular group, and we get to the final boss, who was a human guy. Went into his office. He's behind his desk, and combat ensues, and he's trying to escape out through his window. And no matter what we did, the desk was always in the way. So we try to, go over the desk. The GM said, it's too tall for your athletics to get over. Okay, we go under the desk. It's solid at the front. We go around the desk. It's too wide. We try and attack him across the desk with a sword. It's too long for you to attack over. We try and shoot him with an arrow or with a spell. He ducks under the desk, and it harmlessly impacts the top of the desk. With enough time for him to get out the window, basically. So our
The hell
group
is this
has,
desk made out of?
well, we've now called this the Darkwood Desk of Defense. So anytime something weird happens in our game with GM override, we just call it a Darkwood Desk of Defense moment.
I gotta tell you, based on that story, I actually would have called that the Resolute Desk, which is the desk the president sits at. Funny story, that desk didn't used to have a thing in front of it. Someone was just like, yeah, we're just gonna put a panel here with a fucking eagle on it, and everyone was like, well, the queen gave us that desk or something, and he was like, nah, well, let's just put the panel there.
Yeah, it was
We'll just make the Resolute disc an insert for this.
Yeah. I immediately thought about the Resolute desk when you were telling that story. And saying that it had a thing on the front, I was immediately like, yep, the GM just decided that out of nowhere, put a panel up there.
Yeah. Thankfully, I've had a lot more good GM moments than bad ones. I mean, the bad ones are pretty far. I actually had to think because they're pretty far in between. Because usually you can usually tell pretty early. Like if it's somebody who will admit and just straight up just be like, okay, look, I'm kind of new to this. Give me a little bit of whatever. It's like, okay, that's fine. That's one thing. But it's like if you know their experience or whatever, and they're just being a piece of shit, it's like, no, you know pretty quick.
I feel like it's the opposite. All of my experiences with DMs who have horrified me have always been like 4 or 5 sessions down the line. I'm like, okay, I can get with this. And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, there's a necromancer who comes out and screams white power. And whites pop out of the ground. They're all white skin colored. And I'm just like,
Yeah, I've only ever had, not even something close like that, but we had a GM that was like, he had a problem with 1 or 2 of the other players outside of the game, and he carried it into the game. And they're like, no.
Well, that's a pretty common thing.
Yeah, but it's still just like, come on. Like, if I can sit here, I've played plenty of games where I haven't got along with one player, but it's like, I'm not going to make my character then not like that person. I'm not necessarily going to be buddy with them, but it's like, if you can sit there and not metagame, don't carry your grudges in, IRL grudges over either. It's kind of the same thing. But luckily that's not super common in my experience, at least with the games I've been in either. So.
All right, Pondo, I'm going to give you one last opportunity. I'm not going to force you.
I mean, you kept interrupting me.
I know I did. That's why I'm circling back to it.
Oh.
Listen, if we know anything from Sid's intro last week, interrupting other people is my thing.
No, it's not really sort of one particular experience. It was just kind of how the GM did things. It was, I think, essentially my first ever tabletop game I played in Palladium Games Rifts, where if people who know that there's some crazy stuff that you can play as in that game, where I was playing just, kind of relatively just a regular gunning shooter human, while there was a guy who was an Atlantean who had a shark bear thing, something out of Last Airbender type of area. Another cyborg man who could transform into a treaded vehicle thing. There's another third thing that someone played that was a bit ridiculous. I don't remember what it was. But essentially, it was them doing all the work while I could, scratch the surface a little bit. So the DM essentially didn't really put any barriers to what they could play. So they played this ridiculous stuff while I had there in my little corner with my regular normal human gun. Someone had like a plasma launcher.
I have to tell you, Pondo, I really want a gun named the regular normal human gun now.
It's what it felt like.
Talk to Bungie. We could probably get it progressing too.
I want trademark on that. Essentially, what you had to do was give me something that was specific for the campaign to maybe help me out. But then again, it was minuscule at best.
I've made no attempt to hide my disdain for open systems where people are like, you can play anything. And I'm like, well, that means you're playing nothing. Set yourself in your setting. And if you don't have a setting, you have nothing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about Rifts is the setting is ridiculous.
Yes. I mean, Rifts is, for all intents and purposes, an open game.
Yeah.
Yeah, please don't mention Fatal in chat. I don't want anyone looking it up by accident. Just don't. Pretend it doesn't exist. Don't, Pondo. I see you looking. Don't type anything. All right.
Let me Google that for you real quick.
No, Sid. If you don't know what Fatal is, you really don't want to Google it, man. You don't. It's
Well,
the
I
anybody-
guarantee you, Sid Google's Fatal RPG will be demonetized very quickly.
It's the Lexi Tales of tabletop RPGs.
It's probably
Okay.
worse.
All right. Well, now that I know what the acronym means, I'm just going to go ahead and close that browser tab and ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I told you. Look, it's enough to get Sid to walk away from, ladies and gentlemen, and that's not an easy thing to do.
Nope. I don't want anything to do with that.
It's enough that
totally
most of the people who contribute to 1D4chan also hate it. So that says everything you need to know.
Totally missed what the acronym for it was.
Don't-
Do
you
not.
don't
Nope.
worry about
You're
it.
good.
Look,
Fif-
I'm a fucked up, terrible person, and you don't want to know. Don't ask questions.
56 minute, close to 57-minute intros.
That's
I've
almost Okeanos levels.
I mean, no,
these
that's
are
about
words.
Okeanos average. I extended it out purposely. I wanted to get a little extra information about GMing. I'm just, I'm in a mood lately trying to self-analyze GMing, and just I don't know where to go from here, right? For a while there, my main focus was more descriptive storytelling, and then it was trying to nail the anime descriptive style, and now I'm just kind of like, how do I avoid mistakes? Well, I'm just co-opting your time for no apparent reason to get that. Friends, countrymen, Romans, Imperials, lend me your ears. And Imperial allied approved Xenoses. My apologies, Eshairr. As you aren't technically an Imperial, but one day you may be given a warrant from the Emperor's own hand to
A sanction.
yeah, you too could become a sanctioned Imperial citizen, liable to be shot in the head at any time, but you'll get a very nice hab. Just work at a fabricator for a little while. Friends, if you will recall with me in the previous episode, our team was chasing their ancient nemesis. I wouldn't say ancient. Their longtime nemesis. I'll take long time. Their arch villain. Ooh, that's the one right there. Their arch villain, Talbot Aspects, also known as the cultist commander of the cult of Slaanesh planet. They located some would say private detective, other would say man who takes photographs from long distance.
Voyeur.
Voyeur is not the term that guy would use, but it is also not false. They chased him down through a crazy ass chase sequence where there were many rolls that one would call less than successful. Then I think you chopped his foot off and replaced it with a shitty cybernetic. But this guy is on your side now. He's 100% behind you because he
shot his foot off would be more accurate.
And it's a good cybernetic. It just
ain't
doesn't have
trucking with no cultists. He ain't down with that. in the process of heading out to the aforementioned, well, it was aforementioned in last episode, Imperial Guard base on the far side of the planet, where Talbot Aspects had set up to meet with this gentleman, you were given a report that the Inquisitor aboard the incoming rogue trader fleet had made landfall on the planet and had co-opted that base and was standing against Inquisitor Calidus Cinevis. Your team, en route, has your army coming to back you up. Assembling on the plains outside of the Imperial Guard trading base, we take you now live to your army. Now, I'm pre-assembled. I'm ready to go. I'm just going to let you all know ahead of time. I'm spending 2 command point here to pop prepared positions. All these guys have been in waiting and will gain an extra point of armor, cover, wound, whatever bullshit. 1 to saves, I think it is. They are all considered to be in cover, even if they do not physically appear in cover.
So we're going first then.
You have your pick. You get to pick whether you would like to go first or not.
You can only play prepared positions if you're going second.
Sure. That was not my understanding of it, but I will go with that. If you choose to go first. Friends, you have your line. You have your army. We have Pondo with his giant-ass vehicles and nothing else. I'm very curious to see how these things do.
I feel like the armager's going to die immediately, and then the land will be falling soon after.
Let's talk about tactics before we start placing stuff.
Mhm.
So, I guess a few things to think about. So first off, Arthur's Basilisk can hit anywhere on the table. So,
Yep.
Don't worry about line of sight over. They can hit wherever they want to hit without any problem. They've got
I'd like to
range.
add, by the way, not only can they hit stuff on this table, I'm going to roll to see if they can hit stuff in our next combat. They can hit on another table in the future, all right?
Yeah, we used to do that at GW with the Death Strike missiles, ring up other stores and say, someone in my store is sending a Death Strike to your store because they have limited range. So what I was going to suggest we actually do is we try and put all of our stuff, as much of our stuff, into this corner as possible, because that will put them out of line of sight from all of Arthur's Lehman Russes, which he's then got to start moving across the board if he wants to actually get shots on things. We want to try and keep the Land Raider and the Armiger alive as long as possible because they've got the most damage potential. The Armiger, I think we should be saving a command point every single turn for rotate ion shields because he's going to target it, and that increases its invulnerable save by 1. Not got much that we can use to protect the Land Raider other than line of sight, but if we put things sort of along the front line here, where they can then shoot at the conscripts, shoot at a couple of Bastards on the other side and the mortar crew. I'll probably look at putting the Wave Serpent on the far corner to go down and try and get past those Bullgrins and tie up the Basilisks with melee combat so they can't shoot. Otherwise, it's what damage we can put out from this corner, basically. So all we need to do is...
Are we planning on trying to get to the Inquisitor as soon as possible?
My apologies. I haven't explained this to chat yet. So,
Yeah,
your objectives are twofold. Either survive for 4 rounds or get a character within 3 inches of the Inquisitor and begin a sequence. Is your plan to attempt that strategy?
I think we could try if we can. Because my one thought would be to try to rush in the Land Raider as much as possible to get to the Inquisitor, which that's probably not a good plan. If we can somehow deep strike in and get someone close to the Inquisitor, that might work better.
If we can clear that corner enough, if we save Eshairr and Antipho back for deep striking, if we can clear enough of the stuff in that corner, we can deep strike them in, but they're going to have to wear a round of shooting.
Can your Wave Serpent deep strike in?
Only if I spend 2 CP.
This is my other question. Can Lycus be in the Wave Serpent?
No, but he can deep strike himself because he's got the drop shoot ability.
And Lycus?
Oh, sorry,
Not
Lycus. Sorry,
Antipho,
no, Lycus can only ride in the Land Raider.
Okay, as I was just wondering, because that would be my thought. Would be Lycus could be in the Wave Serpent, which I believe is a transport, right?
It is, and it's got room. It's up to. I mean, if Arthur wants to override the keyword rule, it's up to him. But normally, under normal circumstances, it could.
He is an acolyte of the Inquisition. He has authority in the Inquisition.
Well, isn't
He
there?
could ride anything with the Imperial keyword.
Yeah.
I will allow him to ghost ride the whip. He
So
may
it's up to you.
insert himself inside that transport if he wishes.
I feel as though Lycus would have the best chance of reasoning with this guy, considering that
It should be noted that it is not a guy. It is a 70-year-old seeming woman. Her hair color is lightly blue with some gray in it, done up into two big buns, hunched over. She's wearing like a nice sun hat with a nice Inquisition symbol set into the middle of it that really undoes the rest of her nice old grandmother seeming routine. She does, however, have a thunderhammer on her back and an Inferno pistol. But otherwise, she seems like she's here to see how her grandsons are doing rather than, lead an Imperial Guard brigade.
Well, if she looks old for 70 or looks old at 70, then she obviously doesn't participate in rejuvenate treatments.
Or maybe she has, and she's old AF.
Maybe.
So to deep strike into this corner, we would need to clear out these Bullgrins and guard first. In which case, I'd probably look at putting the Land Raider in this corner here if you want to deep strike the Wave Serpent, and use the quite heavy bolters to take out as many Bullgrins as possible. Probably even put the Armiger behind it.
Yeah, I would say it's like I would, if I can, I would hop a ride in the Wave Serpent and be there to help try to negotiate the stopping of this violence, because four rounds with what they have seems like a pretty rough time, and would just be very bloody on our end since they have a bunch of stuff that can fire onto us. Secondly, it wouldn't really take long for all the tanks to Lehman Russes to get to a position where they could shoot at us. Yeah. I don't know their movement on top of my head, but
10 inches or 5 inches, they can do double shot if they go less than 5 inches. So I'd probably put the Land Raider on the line there, the two Lehman Russes on the front line here, so they can shoot at the Basilisk potentially. Put the Armiger behind the Land Raider. The Wave Serpent, if we take 2 CP off to deep strike it, along with the Guardians and Lycus. I'll stay in deep strike, but not in the Wave Serpent because it's already full. We can dump the mortar back here completely out of sight of everything so that it can, because it can fire things we can't see.
I was thinking of that too.
I'll jam the Dark Reapers up here behind the Lehman Russes. So every time we send CP during the game, not for these ones we spent before the game, we can roll a D6, and on a 6+, we get the CP back because of the Autarch's Path of Command ability, because she's the Warlord today.
Does my company commander have a deep strike capability?
No, because he's a regular infantry.
What happens when you play with tanks, buddy?
Oh, so just Antipho has the
correct
deep strike. Okay.
Only Antipho is authorized to jump out of aircraft.
You don't have the Scions anymore.
Atomic, do you know the Wrought with the Devastators, the Apothecary, and the Ancient together?
Probably should.
So with the Ancient, every time a friendly Marine model dies within 6 inches of him, you can roll
Yeah,
a dice on
see
a
if it gives
4+.
another shot.
They get a free shot, and then the Apothecary can bring them back to life again. So you
No.
want to put the Apothecary, and probably want to put all your Marines somewhere close together, or at least the Devastators, because also the Captain's going to give them reroll 1s to hit too.
Yeah.
So you could potentially look, if you wanted to do some damage to these tanks, you could potentially drop them over here, because the tanks are anti-material sort of things, except for the Punisher, which is out of range. The Devastators could probably take some wounds off those backlimb and Russes.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what's the range on the last cannon?
48.
48.
Yep.
Yeah. There's 36.
Yeah, we need some room to put these, because that big hill in the middle sort of making it hard to get much shot. I mean, we may have to put some troops over with the las cannons, sit over this side, and they're not going to live very long, but they can at least do some damage with those las cannons while they're there.
Yeah, at least I have a chance to bring them back up with the Apothecary.
Yeah. Just make sure Sid, you put the commander behind the unit, because he's not part of the unit, but he gives them the order buffs.
I'll reposition these in a second, just moving them all over.
Yep. I'd probably put the second squad right behind the first squad, Sid.
What's the range of him to give her? Is it 3 inches?
His voice of command is 6 inches.
Okay, so we can pull him back a bit.
Okay.
What's any member of the squad within 6 inches, he can give that squad command.
Let's see. What are you? What are these autocannons or las cannons?
They're las cannons.
Las cannons. Okay, so we've got not an insubstantial.
Well, 4 las cannons there. We can put some damage on those Lehman Russes.
Yeah.
Well, the las cannons are going to Lehman Russes because it's strength 9 versus tough 8, whereas the basilisks are only tough 6.
Yeah.
So lighter anti-material weapons can take them down.
Las cannons, what, AP3?
AP3, yep. So 6 plus A1 on Lehman Rust.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have the most problem with the Bulgrins, because the Bulgrins have 4+ invulnerables and 3 wounds each. And if they get into melee combat, they can do some big damage in melee. And the Hellhounds are tough 7, 11 wounds, and they've got an 18-inch heavy flamer. And because he's running the Katachan Regimental Doctrine, they get to re-roll a D6 on their. Well, same with all the. Anything he's got, there's a D6, which is pretty much the Basilisks, the Lehman Rust battle tanks, and the Hellhounds. He can roll an extra D6 and take his preferred when it comes to shooting.
Yeah, I meant to look at the
3 of those battalists are under Acadian Spearhead.
Yeah.
the new Iron Hand stratagems, and I forgot to bring my book in here. Just gonna bring that up earlier, but never did it.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't know. I don't know the new Iron stratagems.
Yeah, there's got a bunch. They got one. I think it goes instead of bolter discipline. It's designed for heavy weapons, and I don't remember what it's called. But I don't know if you have to have Pharaohs in order to use or not. That's why I didn't think it's so big of a deal. But I was gonna bring it up with you before session. I just forgot to do it. So remind me, or if I can remember, I'll try and do it before we end.
No worries. Like, I think this battle's going to take us more than one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
no, I just wanted to bring it up.
Unless James' first turn is like, I move my warlock 20 inches, then I spend command points and move it another 20 inches, then I use this obscure rule you've never heard of to get the last 4 inches, and we're done. I am in front of the Inquisitor, and I have the fly keyword. I go over all of your dudes.
Look, don't get me wrong. One potential tactic was to just try and target the Hellhounds first turn, because they explode on a 4+, and the Inquisitor's right next to them.
Yep.
Get all 3 of those to explode, you'll kill the Inquisitor, no problem at all. But I don't think we want to kill the Inquisitor.
No, we don't.
sure about that?
No, not yet. But
It's an option, but
it remains to be seen. But let's hope not.
The issue is we don't want to have to try the last all 4 turns because we may not have much left after those 4 turns are up.
Well, it depends what you buy. I mean, I question the victory condition of surviving 4 turns. Like, if we've got 1 model left after 4 turns, are we okay?
Yep.
Or okay.
Yeah, but
If you got 1 model left, then you have 3 dead main characters. At the very least, possibly 4. It's just Antipho hiding in a corner. Probably would not be Antipho hiding in a corner. He seems like the guy to be running out in front of everybody else.
what's unit cohesion? What's the minimum
2
distance?
inches.
2 inches. Okay.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, so with those Devastators, I'll be putting the heavy bolters onto the Bullgryns.
Yeah, that's my
and the
intent.
cannons onto the battle tanks. No, I'd prioritize 1 tank at a time. Don't spread your shots.
Yep. All right. Trying to just spread them out as much as I can.
The other thing is the Hellhounds have track guards, so they won't lose anything really by losing wounds because they'll keep their speed up with track guards, and their main weapons don't have a ballistic skill. So
Yeah.
we want to take them down one at a time. Don't spread the damage on the Hellhounds.
Energy.
Do we want to try to take? Well, again, that would be chance of killing the Inquisitor.
We can't really see them right now without moving them up onto the hill, which is going to limit our shots. So
Yeah.
I mean, certainly, if you move the that Punisher commander forward 5 inches in the first turn, you'll be able to put the Punisher Gatling cannon onto those conscripts for devastating effect, and you'll still be out of sight of the other 11 Russes.
Now I was going to move the Land Raider like maybe a couple of inches, that way I get the multi-melta in range of the Bullgryns.
Yeah,
which it'll help maybe take care of 1, but.
Right, I've got a missile launcher as well.
Why do I feel like we're overmatched here?
I mean, they do have a point advantage, but the whole point is it's not necessarily a seek and destroy mission. That's not our intent. We just have to buy time in order.
Look, most of my stuff is just conscripts, right? It should be really easy to cut through.
Yeah, meat shields.
It's gonna be
very meat shields.
This battle's gonna be super easy.
Tell that to the Eastern Front.
Look at this guy, Mr. World War II over here.
They outnumber them 10-1.
You throw enough bodies at them. I mean,
hard for 1 million people to stop 10 million, right?
I'm not going to give a prediction this time because I get mocked for my predictions. So
Really?
who gives a shit what they think?
Do I mock you? I feel like that's not true. But who has mocked you, James? I'm curious.
One Arthur Perkins.
Wow.
Esquire.
I don't recall this, but there is a very high possibility that is true.
Yeah. I think the exact words were, "Oh, James was all like, oh, we can't win this fight, or this is really be really tough." And look,
now that
we lost so much.
That actually does sound a lot like me.
So, question, James. Do you think I should, in your opinion, keep the tactical Marines in cover and wait for the Bullgryns to move up?
Sorry, I've got 4 out of aggro.
Yeah.
Speaking of cover, look, is this Kalrak over here?
Yeah.
He's just like, "What's up? I'm in the trees. You can't see me,
Yeah.
bitch. I'm the Bear Grylls of this
Because
episode."
if I'm in cover, I get a +2 instead of a +1 because I'm a scout Marine.
So what was the question there?
I was gonna say, in your opinion, you think keeping the TAC Marines behind the rock and waiting for the Bullgryns or conscripts to move up would be the best idea?
So he has
to help reinforce the guardsmen.
So we don't need to worry about keeping 9-inch things in the background. But I'd probably look.
Well, they're just setting here because that's where I moved them. But like debating if I want to have them on the right hand side to
24-inch range.
help
So
with the
you need to get in
Bullgryns.
front of that white line to be able to shoot in the first turn. So I'd probably actually put them up in front of the white line, and then, at the white line and move them forward so they can actually get some shots off this turn.
Yeah.
But the Bullgryns can't clear that distance in 1 turn. So if they're literally just edge right in front of the line, they can shoot. One side could shoot the Bullgryns, one side could shoot the conscripts, and they won't be. The return 5 will get. The Bullgryns only have melee weapons.
Yeah. We did decide that I'm using the new Iron Hands rules, right, for the Overwatch and stuff.
Sure. I don't know what they are, but let's go.
I get
Overwatch on a
watching
5+.
and I don't have any chapter vehicles, so the other ones don't really matter. Okay. Yeah. All right. So.
So if I'm looking at this correctly, you have loaded your good friend and Inquisitorial Acolyte, Hero of the Imperium, Lycus, into your Wave Serpent with your 10 Guardian Defenders and their Shuriken platform.
Yep, it's got 12 slots.
Okay,
So
yep.
I can hold.
I'm just making sure that is where they're all located. Then Antipho and Eshairr are both holding in a high orbit for deployment / webway.
I'm in the webway. Yeah.
So do we have a conversation in the Thunderhawk before we deploy on our way over or anything?
Do whatever. Thunderhawk would be a very I mean, you guys are in like a Uber.
Well,
Yeah, Thunderhawk.
Oh, okay.
Inquisition has Thunderhawks at the asshole.
We just call it a Thunderhawk.
Not you, not your team.
Not us.
Look, you're not at Thunderhawk level yet.
Well, they might not be.
You're like I deserve a Thunderhawk.
Well, because if we're, let's say I'm gonna hitch up with the chapter there and be like, all right, later, bitches. Because we rolling in style.
If you'll recall, you guys were already in your Uber on the way here when you got.
I remember after you said something. I remember. Sorry, I'm trying to get optimal deployment patterns here, as the Iron Hands would be wanting to do. Ooh, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. Hold on.
I don't have any idea what I'm gonna do. I'm over here reviewing orders, and I'm just like, shit, I'm not gonna remember to give a single motherfucker an order, and that's the most important part of my army.
So, I mean, question here, Arthur. I know Pilgar pretty well. Do you want me to call out when you should be considering stratagems or that sort of stuff, or orders?
I think
like,
I got stratagems on a
players?
pretty good. I mean, there are a lot of pretty interesting, but not super interesting stratagems.
You don't have to choose
Probably the one
stratagems
to
beforehand.
Remember is if we're going to type your vehicles with melee combatants, is to remember to use defensive gunners.
Mm-hmm.
Remind me how stratagems work again. I mean, used them in
Just
a long time.
Say a
basic
CP.
card to use. Yeah, basically, when you use a card.
Okay. I was gonna guess.
How we feeling
Maybe
about
when we
this?
have our break, get your maybe grab your books because they'll have the stratagems in the book.
Yeah. Well, I could always just run in there and grab it real quick. I know exactly what it is.
I think that by the time we get to our break, we probably would have moved.
Just for the folks at home, this is Pondo's whole army. Is these 2 units right here, plus himself. 2 giant ass.
I mean, I didn't really have much of an army last time either. The last army.
I don't disagree with that, but that you had a lot more units. This time around, I feel like it's going to be a lot more killy, though.
I had a lot more units that couldn't really do much.
I disagree with that. They were great at eating bullets.
They're not supposed to be the ones eating the bullets, though. That's what the Scions were supposed to be for.
Well, the Scions were not eating the bullets.
Granted, the Scions were actually meant to be the assholes that popped up in the back on you randomly. It's like, haha.
Look, here's the thing, right? At every Battle Sister's time in their life, they're gonna have to eat a bullet. Okay, that's just how the life cycle of a Battle Sister goes.
The thing is, I wish I wasn't really able to do much of the faith point stuff because I didn't have that many Battle Sisters. I only had enough to have an extra couple points, which I could do like one thing, and then that thing may or may not actually be pulled off.
Are we
Sorry,
satisfied?
Pondo, if you want to use the melter gun, you got to swap the Armiger and the Land Raider around. Put the Armiger at the front and the Land Raider behind it.
I wasn't going to use the melta gun because if I go in range, I didn't think it would be worth it because I'd get the +1 to ballistic skill.
Yeah, that's true.
For
So
moving.
just hang back and you got 60-inch range with your auto cannon.
Yeah,
so.
I didn't think it was that worth it. I could be wrong. I mean, I could obviously get in range for the melta gun, but again, I'd rather have the 3-up instead of the 4-up on the ballistic skill. For
fair call.
Okay.
Is everyone set in their ways?
I think that I don't know. I feel like I'm being judged in my tactics here.
No, I'm not judging. I don't have a fucking clue what's about to
I
happen.
think James is judging me a little bit.
Will you choose to go first or second?
Definitely first.
Okay, I'm
We need to
spending
put some kills
2
on
more
board.
points to activate orbital bombardment.
Oh, this'll be fun.
On a 6+, the unit that I target suffers a mortal wound. Nope. Armiger. No. Warlock. Yes. Warlock takes a mortal wound.
Can we feel no pains?
Yeah, I save. I'll grab that.
Yeah, he gets the Warlock version of that. Oh, he
No.
feels the pain. He tastes my pain, bitch. Autark, no. Mortar battery, yes. Suck it, mortar battery. This mortar battery, by the way, is the one that Sid harassed last episode.
Yeah, you got to roll for the crew too, because the crew are a separate unit after deployment.
Really? Wow. Okay. No. Exarchs, Stark Reapers, no. Lehman Russ 1. Lehman Russ 2. This Imperial Guard unit. Is this a second infantry squad? I think it is,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
Second. Company commander. No. Devastators. Yes. That
Flesh
Devastators.
is weak.
What happened?
I hit your Devastators with an orbital bombardment, so 1 mortal
okay.
wound, sir.
Unless you can get the flesh is weak.
Nope.
Nope.
Tactical Marines 1. Tactical Marines 2. Apothecary. Company Agent. Yes. I guess he gets a flesh as weak because he's
They
company.
they all get it.
Fuck. Chapter Master, which is I don't know what we're doing here. Why we're rolling multiple.
Because they're separate units.
No, I haven't rolled for him yet. I was calling out that I'm rolling for him. No. And Kalrak. Yes, Kalrak gets hit with a mortal wound. That's really not good for Kalrak.
No.
He's not a guy that can eat multiple mortal wounds.
Does he technically get flesh is weak?
Yes, he does. It's on his character sheet, indeed. There is a withering barrage that hits the flanks of your units and doesn't do very much to the people in the center as the orbital bombardment opens up.
I suggest for the killed Devastator, you remove the sergeant.
Yeah, the sergeant doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Very well, friends.
Useless.
Nailed it. Got a kill. Hit a gun battery. I mean, really, what more can you ask out of life? Countrymen, Romans, I hit the chess clock and turn control of the battlefield to you.
Now, do we want to do the same thing? We've got the command points. He's got the units. A lot of things
how
to
many
roll for
command
there.
points is it?
2 CP.
2. And we've got
Yeah.
what? 12?
10 left.
10 left?
10 left. Yep. I think we should do it. He's got that many units.
Oh, I have a
a lot of
lot of units.
Yeah, we should. Just for the.
It may help with the Bullgrins, I suppose.
All right, who wants to do the rolling?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Go for it, because rolling
so-
sixes is not exactly my forte.
Bullgrun's on this side.
All right.
Sure.
Oh,
One
yeah.
mortal wound.
Talk to me about Bullgrins. How many wounds do they have? They have a lot, right?
3.
So I just need to assign 1 wound to one of them.
That's right. Okay, the infantry squad.
2. What?
Well, that was my Bullgrin die, but all right.
Oh.
Fine, you do whatever you want.
Okay, the first group of conscripts.
They have a
Yep.
dude in them that is not part of
the
their
commissar.
unit. Yep.
Commissar.
Commissar now?
Yep.
Company
The
commander.
company commander.
No.
Yep. Second group of conscripts.
Damn it. No.
Yep. The heavy weapon crew.
Nope.
Yep. The heavy weapon itself. Yep. Basilisk 1.
Come.
Basilisk 2.
Come.
Basilisk 3.
Nope.
Psyker.
Nope.
Inquisitor.
God damn.
Hellhound 1.
Hitting everything but a 6.
Hellhound 2.
There we go.
There you go. 1 on the middle Hellhound. So it's down to 10. Hellhound 3. Okay.
Nope.
Basilisk 4.
Nope.
No, Basilisk 5.
Nope.
Basilisk 6.
Nope.
Company Commander.
Nope.
Nope. Conscripts.
Nope.
Nope. Tank Commander.
Nope.
Oh, come
Battle
on.
Tank 1. Not Battle Tank 2.
There we go.
That's the middle. So the middle battle tank it's down to 11. Last battle tank.
Not that I'm hitting really
Okay,
low. it's-
Conscripts.
Okay.
Yes.
got
Okay, so
conscripts.
one conscript from this group here is killed Arthur. Okay, infantry squad
Okay.
and second group Balgans.
Kind of
No.
fine. I'm going to start.
So one conscript, 1 wound on a Bulgarin, 1 wound on a tank, 1 wound on a Hellhound.
I feel
Crimson
like
one.
I came out of that really well. Honestly.
You did.
Yeah.
I hit everything but a 6.
A lot.
Use
Hit a lot of
D12.
5s and 4s.
Sorry, you
Not-
said one tank's down to an 11 and
Yeah.
the other one's down to a 10.
No, so it's 10 on the Hellhound. I've
Yep.
just brought a D12 in if you want to use that, and it's 11 on them.
I spawned some D20s in, but there we go. Thinking the same thing. Nope, that is not going to work out for me.
Hey, James.
Yeah.
Remind me how the auctions work.
So do you mean the like the devastated doctrine, that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Only applies if the army is 100% Marines.
Okay.
So we're on to moving now, I believe. So, Pondo, do you want to move that Land Raider forward a bit to?
Yeah, I was going to move at least a couple of inches. If not, maybe just
Is it
6.
What's its speed? Is it 6 or 10?
It's speed 10.
I mean, there's no harm in moving it all the way forward, except the fact that's probably going to attract those Bulgarins. But I'll see what their move is.
I think they have probably like what, 5?
Just double checking this. Their move of 6. So the threat range is 15 inches. Well, that's standard charge it is, but yeah. So they move forward 6. That would be there would be a 12-inch charge for them. That would be the maximum charge they could possibly do. So if they declare that charge, you'll get to overwatch them, and they'll have not much chance of getting in. Alright, I might move that Warlock forward to try and that too. Although I might pull him back if he lives. So he's can advance 22. Don't move that far forward.
Are you going to save use the command point later to have him pull back?
I think so, probably, yeah. I should get him in the range of his guns too, though. So they're only 12, which I'll go further. So he won't be able to pull far enough back, but he will be able to get a bit of distance. But now I can also shoot those troops.
Which one of our guys is our warlord? by the way?
You
You're
theoretically,
autark.
They're Autark.
Also,
what's the move on the Warlock?
22.
Theoretically, you could have probably made it to the Inquisitor first turn.
He's not a character, though. He's not an MP. I figured it had to be one of the PCs that could do it.
No, anybody with the character tag.
Okay, no worries. Well, once again, I think I almost feel like a warlock going in there to sort of negotiate with an Inquisitor, probably asking for trouble.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Suddenly,
well,
Warlock
Yeah, but it's like a video game.
You're doing-
cutscene,
you're
though. It
doing-
just triggers, and then all of a sudden, all the PCs are right there.
just get it would be very highly dependent on what order the thing. Although my captain does have a jump pack.
Yeah, there are several people on the field that have character tags that have quite a good range. When I said earlier, I was worried that James would come up with some multi-move bullshit. That was... I tried to see it from that side of the battlefield, and I was like, he could do anything. Any of them could do anything.
Theoretically, you could have ran first turn and got him up to 28 inches, and then next turn definitely could have got the Inquisitor. I mean, he could have also tried.
I do note that the distance we have to get from the Inquisitor is exactly equal to the double damage range on her gun as well. So, so you might want to move the Punisher forward 5 inches so that it can shoot those conscripts, because it's only got 24-inch range on the main gun.
What Sid was describing earlier is the most Dragon Age Origins thing of all time. So you just get one character in, all of the rest of your characters just huddle up and are like, let's talk about this Mabari war dog we found. And I'm like, where the fuck did these people go from? They're a whole battlefield away, fighting some orcs.
You might need to move your Tactical Marines forward a bit.
Yeah, I am. I keep doing the wrong... There we go. See, I only need to move them up a couple inches, really. I keep hitting my hotkeys for Dungeon Painter Studio. I'll just move the alone so roughly seems fun.
Connor Hughes. Everybody knows that the war dog gets his backstory in the Human Noble.
Damn it!
Line. It's your war dog.
Does.
It's your own war dog.
I love the name that it generates for him if you don't give him a name.
I don't know what it is. Tell me. Hit me with it. Bark?
Spawn.
Oh. Wow. That's really bad.
Yeah.
Truly awful. Look, I'm great at naming things. I once named a cougar that I was giving to a rat sorcerer, a sorcerer who summoned and spoke with rats, Mr. Mouser. I felt like it was a good pet to get rid of all their rats. Might have been a little hostile action. But who doesn't give a live cougar to all of their good friends? With little or no training. Connor Hughes, Dragon Age 2 was decent. You're right, that is an unpopular opinion.
The combat was substantially better. If I could have the story of the first one,
fought in the same areas over and over again.
I'm saying the combat system, not necessarily like.
I will agree with that.
If I could have the story of the and like location of the first one with the mechanical combat system from the second one, it'd be great. All right, I have moved.
Or Pythias, you know, that guy.
Sid, with your infantry squads, you have an option. You could move the soldiers forward and leave the heavy weapons crews standing, because it's only if a model moves does it take the +1 to hit. And if they move in front of the white line, basically, if they get 24-inch range as range on las guns, they could shoot at the conscripts. If you just keep the, like, as long as they stay within 2 inches of the weapons team, or you conquer line it out, you could move some guys forward and get some shots with the infantry squad. If they move, like, say, they've got a 6-inch move, so you can get some up to there, which would be in range of shooting the conscripts.
Gotcha.
Some of them would be able to.
I'm gonna go after the which one of these tanks do you want to go after first, Sid? When we get to it.
Which one of the tanks?
Yeah. Like,
if you have the choice, I'd probably go after this one, because it has. Well, it's got it's 3. I've got battle cannons, but it's got a 3+ ballistic skill because it's the tank commander.
That one might be a little harder. because I think one of the las cannons will be able to hit it. My Devastator's gonna hit it for sure.
I mean, the battle cannons actually probably aren't our biggest problem because we haven't got a lot of
Yeah,
armor
they're not.
that's within shot of them.
Where's that?
More probably the Punisher might be the way to go. There.
Yeah,
It's gonna
no,
take apart
it'd have to
those
be.
troops.
Yeah, well, I know. Yeah, when I'm playing Arma, tanks don't scare me. APCs scare me. Rapid firing weapons are lethal to infantry. It's horrible. So which one of these has a Punisher? Is it
The one up on the hill.
the hill? Has a stand? Okay.
Yep.
I
The
thought we
one-
had one with a
this is-
Punisher model.
Yeah, I
Is-
think we load the wrong one in here because this one's got a Punisher
Yeah.
option. So
Yeah, I was about to say because we've used
Fighting
it.
and
We
assault
used to
as well.
have one.
yeah, pretending it's an exterminator.
Oh, whose hands are whose? Well, AP's is white, James is red, I'm yellow, Sid is green, and Pondo is purple. Not that you'll remember that, but I think we choose the same colors every time. I could probably put a key up somewhere.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I always choose red because it helps with the regular tabletop game because it puts you in the space next to your character.
Well, yeah, that one too. I choose yellow
Typically,
because
I'm
it's half the color of Hazard Stripes, and I'm an Iron Warriors fanboy.
I choose green because I normally choose red, but somebody took that, so...
Yep.
What an asshole!
That's right. Strange cunts. All right.
I mean, typically I'm pink because that's where my character sheet is in the pink section.
You heard it here, folks. Pawn of the Mad. He's in the pink.
One of the Mad is indeed colorblind.
I'm not colorblind
probably-
at all.
I know.
Color?
I'm just giving you shit.
Man, that would be my job would suck if I was colorblind.
Yeah.
Don't you work with paint?
I do.
Yes.
That's why it would suck if I was colorblind.
I don't know. There've been some pretty good people, like artists that are, I mean, like once you know the difference, like you know that, okay, I see this color as this, but it's actually this, you probably adjust.
No.
Yeah, sometimes I have to manually match stain, and not being able to see color at times for that would be very difficult.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if I need to add more gray or some more gray.
I mean, there's probably a guy, there's a guy who, has either always been colorblind or became colorblind, and then he's just, he's fine.
All right, is there a moved or are we still moving?
Space Marines are moved.
My armature is going to move by not moving.
All right, I'm going to smite the Bulgrins. Needing a 5+.
How close do you have to be to deny the way? Oh, I'm way outside. Never mind.
24 inches. Yep,
Yeah.
That's a success. So that is 1 mortal wound. That Bulgrin's taken 2 wounds now.
Do you even have a psyker?
Your Pilgrim's taking 2 mortal
does.
wounds.
Is
Yeah.
it? Is
I have
it
2
not-
psychers.
Oh, I didn't see him.
I have
Is it
a
not the
actual psycher
D3
and an Inquisitor psycher.
Oh, they're in the trees. Okay.
Yeah, man, we're all up in the fucking tree lines killing your dudes.
Weren't you giving me shit for hiding in a tree?
Was that not the D3?
Yeah, but you're a
slide,
main
or was
character.
it-
I'm also a scout.
Main characters don't hide in tree lines. They bravely charge over open fields while rounds fly all around them, never hitting
Yeah.
anything.
As soon as
just saw Arthur.
as soon as I get Terminator plate, I
I've
will
seen
do
Mel
just that.
Gibson movies.
You did give the Warlock the quicken psychic power. I literally could have, if we wanted to, got the Warlock to the Inquisitor as the very
Yeah.
first action.
I don't disagree that that is a possibility.
Had Lycus in the back of it just hitching a ride.
You're
Alright, so
slowing
that's
me
psychic
down.
plate
We're too low. Like
You
a
wanna-
I knew I shouldn't
Go
have had that big lunch.
Go ahead, Jake.
Do you want to do shooting now, or do you want to do it after the break?
Oh, that's a good question. We're like 5 minutes from the break. I feel like we should definitely do shooting after.
Okay.
Friends, we'll return for the second half and see what remains of my army afterwards. I'm hoping the answer to that is something. I'm hoping something remains. I'm really worried because James is like, strategic move exactly 5.9 inches. Pondo, remain, hold, and I'm like, how bad is this gonna be? I thought these Bulgrins would live forever, and James is like, keep hitting them over and over again. And I'm like, oh shit, are these Bulgrins gonna live? We'll find out when we return in the second half in about 8 minutes. Stick around. Da, 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 da.